Alright guys, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on games engines or game development. It's something that I've looked into, but I just honestly don't know where I'd even begin. It's just at this point in my life, starting from scratch, learning game development and coding and all that crap, not likely to happen. However, there's a massive controversy going on with this Godot game engine. I believe I'm saying it properly. I think it's a French engine, Godot, maybe it's Godot, I don't know. Anyways, they put out this tweet on the 27th at 6:21 a.m. that says, apparently game engines are woke now. Well then, we won't complain. Show us your woke-hot games below. And of course, making a play on the name Godot or Godot. So you see down here, you have some people completely crapping on them, and a few people saying things like, normal replies, devs sharing their projects and praising Godot. Hidden replies, people ranting because Godot supports queer people, almost no devs. I love the Godot community so much for weeding out these people. Again, they use terms like this, weeding out, quite a bit. It's like they want to actually remove these people from society. And of course, there's a few people being supportive down here, but the general sentiment is, yeah, I don't think so. I don't want to touch your game engine anymore. So of course, Godot game engine is like another option, alternative to things like Unreal Engine. Of course, it is free to download, but it is community supported. I do believe that they have a large presence of people who actually fund this engine. It's not something that they're actually making money on. Personally, I don't think they have like any revenue source for it. But of course, you can see that they have this showcase of different games and things that have been created using the Godot engine. So all things considered, it seems like a pretty cool thing. Games like Brotato, I think I've actually got that on my wish list, if I'm not mistaken. So of course, this created quite the controversy. And like you would expect, their community manager has gone on a firestorm of blocking people left and right. Grum's pointing out here that the community manager has created a huge crisis for open source gaming engines. What started off as virtue signaling with multiple rainbow flags and naming the engine Wokot has turned into a media disaster, and the CEO desperately trying to calm down the devs. The community manager went on a huge blocking spree for innocuous questions and mild criticism, including Grum's yesterday for pointing out that virtue signaling is poor marketing move in the current game climate. This is why you never hire rainbow activists to represent you. And personally, again, you can identify however you want to identify. You can spend whatever time with certain people in your bedroom you want. But this whole weird virtue signal crap that you see on Twitter, it's always the same type of people. They always look the same. They've always got the pronouns in the bios or the rainbow flags. And it just gets to be way too predictable. So here's she, they is. Of course, you can see Artur from Solash2 talking to Juan Lenitsky, the founder of Godot. And again, the founder, Juan Lenitsky, he has tried as hard as he can to be apolitical, but unfortunately, the inmates are running the asylum in this situation, and honest to God, even for like the slightest bit of criticism, the community manager is going out of their way to block anybody who criticizes. And of course, you see people like this person here saying that there's so many hidden replies to this, I can't even block them all. Utter respect to Godot for cleansing their community to include the most inclusive people and making the rest of them seethe. Pretty demented behavior, honestly. Using the verbiage like that about like cleansing their community, not a good take in my opinion. So then you have guys like this at Life Art Studios on Twitter, goes by Starkium, says, I have been blocked. Guess what? I am a titanium level backer for the Godot fund. Guess what my next move is? And you can be sure it's canceling his subscription, canceling his actual membership at Godot. And of course, I'm sure he's not the only one. There's a lot of people who are like, hey, if I can't even get, communication from these people, why would I give them my money? Pirate Nation pointing out that the Godot engine decided to virtue signal on Twitter and then went on mass blocking sprees against anyone critical of them, even those simply suggesting to focus on improving their engine instead. So again, you can see this person here says, can you focus on fixing / supporting bitmap fonts to properly import into your engine first? Instead of doing this sort of thing, it's delaying my project a lot, have trying to bug fix this with the little documentation you have for this, and it resulted them in being blocked. Again, any criticism of the she-theys will get you blocked. And of course, we've seen this before with people like the Alan Wake 2 community manager calling for bigots to be removed from the gaming communities. Of course, we've seen the community manager over with Ubisoft saying that they have certain animus against people that are white and male. Helldivers 2's community manager was insane, had a handbook instructing moderators to ban players who are opposed to their identity politics being injected into video games. All sorts of examples over at that Park Place of these complete lunatics in the gaming space. Of course, now you see Grum saying that this is getting insane. Godot isn't just blocking devs on Twitter, they're blocking them on GitHub, preventing them from getting engine updates. And you can see this person right here. It says, WTF, now devs get blocked in GitHub. This is getting completely out of hand. Just insane behavior. But of course, it doesn't stop there. You see this person here, Spooky Xananex, who is a him, allegedly had a lot of really nasty tweets, posts on Discord using all sorts of words that I can't repeat on YouTube. This person is the moderator of an unofficial Godot Discord server, so very interesting behavior there. But now at this point, as you'd imagine, the founder, Juan Linitsky of the Godot engine, he is in protected mode on Twitter. He is probably having a panic attack because despite the fact that he's got such weirdo, woke activist people working at his company, clearly he never signed on for all of this. Peter Aquar on Twitter says Juan Linitsky seems like he don't care at all, especially on his Twitter. He's just gone with his take. He said, again, Juan Linitsky said yesterday, I deeply believe that any political discussion that puts labels to a group of people is one that should not have started. As most of the people on this planet, no matter their political compass, seems to strongly disagree with me, I just prefer to stay entirely out of politics. To which this guy, my boy on Twitter, says, I told you this would happen, and now your engine is hijacked by people making propaganda with it. You can say no to politics all you like, just like you can be a pacifist all the way to the soldiers arriving at your house. Juan responded with, I think you're exaggerating a bit, to be honest. Well, Juan's in protected mode right now, so you tell me. It doesn't just stop right there. Now you have my boy on Twitter with this long Twitter post. I'm going to try to condense this as much as possible. Saying, Grums, I'm not sure where to put this, where you'll read it. If anyone knows how to get him to read that, please retweet or PM him so he gets this info. I've been following Godot for a long time, both on Twitter and their blog posts. I'd like to give a rundown of things the way I understand them. One, Juan Linitsky is not a political guy. He has some enemies, but clearly does not get into politics. His Twitter is 99% technical. And of course, he's worked on Godot for nearly 10 years, carried it, and basically developed it alone for a long time. It's a wonderful project. So this guy's a fan, okay? No disrespect, nothing wrong with that. He did say, though, that there have been numerous odd signs around Godot in the past 6 months to a year. Yuri Sizov, who is a former employee, was one of the top contributors, suddenly got fired. The weird part about it is that he stayed very active and tried supporting the engine after he got fired, so clearly didn't want to be kicked out. He wanted to be there, obviously. When people asked in the old Discord about why, the answer was an incredibly strange, we can't say. If Yuri wants to talk about it, he will, which makes no sense. Either he was fired for a clear reason, either he left and doesn't want to say why. My guess is he was fired for political reasons. He's Russian. He was fired over the Ukraine war reasons, basically not wanting to say Russia's evil. Again, I think that is this guy, my boy on Twitter. Maybe that's just like his hypothesis, his idea of what possibly could have happened. You can have your own opinions about him not being against his own country, but he clearly didn't bring politics into the engine, and his work was top tier. Has numerous blog posts on the official Godot website, too. Okay. Some few months ago, the current community manager was introduced, green hair and all. I immediately saw the writing on the wall. Honestly, I think we all see the writing on the wall when that happens. And apparently the former community server, the former Discord server, was pretty legit. Now it says apparently the new server's full of far-left crap and every obsession with LGBT alphabet soup being enforced as the main subject, while the old Godot Cafe, the old server, is still active, fully apolitical, and is all about Godot and game dev. The new server was followed by a new code of conduct, which was through and through about far-left crap. And again, we'll get into the code of conduct in a minute, because that is something that we need to talk about as well. And he says, I think you're mistaking the scapegoat Linitsky with the true culprit here, which I am 90% sure is at Akin. And now Akin, or Akin, or Akine, however you pronounce this, is a guy by the name of Remy Verscheld, and we'll get into Remy now. He's a known far-left advocate and has many political posts. I can't get any out because, well, he blocked me, same as I got blocked by the official Godot engine when I denounced all this crap yesterday. To illustrate how far-left the guy is, I remember this kind of conversation. Linitsky, this engine is so for everyone can do game devs, it's not really about the poor or the rich or any political camp. And then you have Verscheld saying, I wouldn't say that, we're doing this engine for a good cause to push the right camp up. And again, this is just this guy, my boy on Twitter, again, summarizing what he believes or what he remembers could have been said. Again, there's no proof that these were actual words spoken by these two men. Words are apocryphal, but the spirit is that Linitsky always did this with the intent to make Godot a true FOS engine. Keen/Verscheld absolutely wants to use it as a vessel to push the right ideologies and concepts forward. His Twitter is full of political crap and has been for years. And I'll tell you about some of this political crap we'll get into in a minute. But about this Yuri Sizov guy who was allegedly fired from Godot, it's some really interesting stuff. From a post back in August, he says, when I was sacked from the project, I was made aware of almost 20 accounts naming me as the reason why they didn't want to contribute overall or to specific areas that I maintained. I don't know the names or specifics of their problems with me. All I know is that the fund for Godot GF, the Godot fund, hid this information from me and made no attempts to resolve these problems through me. They just waited and then sacked me, stating these accounts as the reason for my spontaneous termination. Now I don't know who I can talk to in the community. I don't know if the person I try to reach out hates me, not unless they talk to me first. I'm paranoid. I don't know how to deal with this kind of mental damage. I'm trying to move on with my life, but a part of me was torn away, and I don't know how to replace it or regrow it. I miss the sense of belonging that I had a year ago. I miss being around people, working with people, trusting people. Sorry if this is too heavy for a weekend thread. I want my work to be the outlet for my feelings, but it's not exactly easy to discuss mental health with the constraints of productivity software. Love you all. Hope you're doing the same better than me. So now we see, more recently, within 19 hours ago, him addressing the comments in this thread from my boy on Twitter. And he says, I've been asked for comments and they made a compelling argument that it's my time to share my side of the story. So I would have said the same tweet as Nat talking about the community manager, making fun of the moron who thinks using a game engine is woke. Furthermore, if you are afraid of a bit of diversity, you're just as weird as the breast milk thief you're allying with, again, referring to Grums. So clearly he's in on the idea that Grums stole somebody's breast milk back when he worked with a certain employee. P.S. I've been publicly harassed for my work on the engine. 2 highly disturbed people made me their favorite target for years. Why the F would you think I'll support whatever the F this mouth-breathing outrage is? Are you completely out of touch with reality? Again, absolutely calling out and attacking people on the, quote, anti-woke side of things. But here's where it gets really, really, really weird, okay? You have guys like Remy Verscheld admitting to blocking people on GitHub, all right? You see this guy here says 90% of the folks pissed at Godot are not devs, 8% seem to be devs that are explicitly racist, sexist, etc. Remy responded with, just to set this straight, as the only person who posted about being banned conveniently admitted to share the GitHub issue that got them banned, is that he was allegedly harassing contributors and I'm the one who blocked them, okay? But if you go back a little further, this is the really interesting thing. Yuri and Remy don't always seem to be like ideologically on the same page. So I posted this out a little bit ago in response to my boy's Twitter here post here, talking about again some of the posts that Remy has made in the past, talking about how gender identity is a human right, sexual orientation is a human right, trans rights are human rights. You can get the kind of idea of how this person identifies, what their ideological bent is, if you will. And you can go find these on Twitter. They're on my Twitter account. I'll probably pin this post later on. But further down, you'll see these posts that I put on here saying, interestingly, after Yuri was allegedly fired from Godot back in January, he had an interaction with Remy regarding SBI against Sweet Baby Inc. / Gamergate in March. Despite Yuri doubling down on agreeing with mainstream narratives currently, he seemed to have taken the side of gamers against Sweet Baby Inc. at the time. And you see right here, Remy posts this tweet and says, so Gamergate 2 is ongoing and many of our fellow game devs are the target of a harassment campaign, received death threats, and are being doxxed. F this. Speak up, block the anime profile picture, blue check sock puppets, and go make your games and communities more diverse and inclusive. To which Yuri back on March 13th responded, can I speak up by saying that going after users who want to avoid your products is not a great look and that it hurts ideals that these people represent? It also highlighted a lot of the conflict of interest between gamer viewers and creators, but that's nothing new and probably unavoidable. As much as game devs are my people, gamers are my people as well. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. So I think that these are important points to consider. Failing to do that, we continue to radicalize the discussion and antagonize people involved in our industry. Person here responds, from my personal experience, it's sometimes best to ignore these certain types of gamers. You know, the usual crap you'll hear. Yuri responds and says that's fair, of course, but from what I've seen, people who created the community around avoiding SBI were sticking mostly to themselves. They even self-moderated the Steam curator to avoid any violation of code of conduct. I think putting the spotlight on that group of people was a mistake and attracted just the right crowd that would escalate this further. That's when the shouting started. Anyway, I don't condone harassment of my fellow devs. This was just bugging me this whole time, that some actions didn't help and led to a worse outcome, but nobody really wants to discuss the nuance. Everything must be binary, otherwise you're the enemy. To which Remy, of course, responds with, that's fair, but the scope of the issue is way beyond what happened between SBI and the Steam curator. It has been distorted by alt-right influencers, and now this is an all-out harassment campaign against diversity and woke devs, which are blamed for all societal woes. Well, I thought that these people are the ones, kinds of people who would blame everything right-wing and alt-right for all of societal's woes. So that's very strange. Mind you, that this is not the first time that apparently Godot has had some issues, and I know we're running pretty long here. I'll try to wrap this up really quick, guys. So this is not the first time that this company, that Godot, has faced accusations of less than reputable behavior, including which being a scam, no less. But of course, this has been debunked more or less by certain people. You can see this TLDR in the situation saying that Juan Leniski created a private company that got $8 million in funding. Some people confuse that with the Godot Foundation got $8 million. Since Godot still needs donations from very confused people, some very confused people think that Juan kept the $8 million for himself, but these are two different entities. But more than that, there are people who have actually said back in the past that this company, this group of people, will block any critics, that they will actually not handle any criticism of their engine. So just listen to this YouTube video I found. This is from Abra Rambles from about 7 months ago discussing this.
This cannot be real, right? So he started blocking people, including me. I don't really think I deserve the block because this is what I said. It's funny. It's funny. So yeah, we can see that Godot physics quite literally is the worst out there. I have been talking about this since 4.0 came out. No one gives a shit. The average Godoters are so deluded that they will actually tell you that physics is not a fundamental thing in a game engine. Godot community is super toxic. They defend Godot religiously. You make one criticism, everyone is like, bro, you're mentally ill. Look at this guy. You know what? You need to talk to your psychiatrist, bro. You're mentally ill. You don't believe me? Here are some screenshots. It's real, okay? Godot is a cult. It's super toxic. And this toxicity...
And I think some evidence of the fact that it's kind of a cult-like behavior at this organization, this engine, the people that use it, is the fact that a lot of these tweets, again, seem to be like, oh, you're insane, get out of here, you need to go talk to a psychologist. And the fact that any criticism results in people blocking, banning, all this kind of stuff that we've seen now. Even further, which is really weird, you remember, Yuri was, again, the guy who got let go, allegedly back in January. And here he is in this conversation about bullying. This is some crazy stuff. Hopefully this is the right timestamp.
About this post, when it was first made, even Emilio knows about it. Yuri also made a comment on this issue and he immediately locked it. So that's pretty fucking suspicious if you ask me. But yeah, anyway. He talked about how he got bullied for months and how Juan Lenietsky and Remy sided with bullies. And then again, there's Lilibut.
Again, talking about how people at this organization, people at this company sided with the bullies. And of course, you can see again, this person here, Remy Versteld, is the one on GitHub that has the account here that obviously is the one that's banning people. He said it himself. And before you start thinking that you can just switch to Unreal Engine and any other option as well out there, all of these engine companies, they're all woke. I mean, on Unreal Engine's website here, you have this Designing for Everyone, teaching inclusive design with Unreal Engine. So while I would love to say that there's an easy answer to find an engine that is not quote unquote woke or infested with all this kind of crazy LGBT virtue signaling, unfortunately, guys, I don't know of one that is. If you guys know, if anybody out there is a developer, uses game engines, knows how to do any of this stuff, put it in the comments down below. If I see it, I'll try to pin it. But there's a lot of rot at the core of this Godot group of people, and I think it's only going to get worse the more that we find out. But I'm going to leave it right there. I'm also going to have an article on my website about this. I'm going to link to the video as well once I get it done. Let me know what you think about this, guys. Hopefully some of this made sense, and I will catch you on the next one. All right, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have two channels, Minimal Effort Podcast, as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.